Hi everyone, it's Mindy Eggen. Welcome to my channel. So, I have to tell you, I just tried something with my 3D embossing folder that I honestly can't stop thinking about. I watercolored directly over an embossed background and then did some ink blending on top. And the result, I am completely obsessed. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it using the Gina K Designs card kit, and I think you're going to love it just as much as I do. If you're interested in any of the supplies I'm using today, I will have them linked down below in the video description and over on my blog. So, I already did kind of a walkthrough of the card kit. This is the 3D embossing folder, Fancy Dogwood Blooms, that's included in the card kit. It'll be released separately next month at the next release. But I knew as soon as I got the card kit, I wanted to play with the 3D embossing folder because I really have been enjoying experimenting with different techniques. Watercoloring has always been something that I've attempted previously in the past, but I've always been a little hesitant and, quite honestly, a little scared at doing it. But I'll tell you, the results for this are just amazing and really easy to do. So, I'm going to start by embossing some watercolor paper. Now, this is the Fabriano Artistico Extra White paper. I'm placing that inside of my embossing folder, and then I'm using my Gina K Designs intricate die cut machine to do the embossing. For my setting, I do the 2D emboss and then number two on loose. That is what I find works best for me, but please be sure to experiment with your machine and don't ever force your embossing folder through your die cut machine. I'm using just that thick white platform base. I placed my embossing folder on top with my paper inside, and then I run that through. But then once it goes through, I flip it and run it back through the other way. So first I start with the closed end and then I come back through with the open end. And I really do that because I find sometimes the bottom doesn't get as embossed. So that is my little trick, but please be sure to experiment with yours to find out what works best. And that gave me the greatest impression of that embossing folder. Whenever you are watercoloring an image, you want to make sure you tape down your panel. This is going to help it from warping and curling on you. So I just have a board here. You could use your Misty, you could use any type of a flat surface, and I'm using painter's tape going around the edges to hold that down. I was not being real careful on my edges. This just happened to be a fluke that it worked out in the end, but I just kind of randomly taped it on the edges, making sure I wasn't overlapping the flowers. And then I sprayed it with water. I heavily saturated it with water and spread that water out with a paintbrush. I have two watercolor sets here that I'll be using. I really liked the pink, the one on the right hand side, and then I like the greens from the one on the left hand side. I will link these two down below in the video description, but you can use whatever watercolor sets that you have. I am not a watercolor artist, but I do know that this is called the wet on wet technique. So when I wet my paintbrush, I pick up the paint, I'm starting in the center of my flowers and I'm letting the water do the work. You can see how it automatically starts to bloom and spread out. And that is what I want. Watercoloring is not meant to be perfect, it is meant to be kind of loosey goosey and get those um, not so clean edges, really, and that's what I wanted. I love the watercolor look. I was just always very intimidated by it. Now, I started to add some green, and usually when you have pink and green mix and overlap, you tend to get a brown. But in this case, what was really unique that I found is that it kind of made a bluish gray. And honestly, I loved that. So I let everything kind of naturally bloom out and then I did spread it out around the flowers because that's really what I wanted was that background. And what I'm doing here is pretty much setting a base layer of color for my ink blending. So one of the reasons this helps having on a board is you can pick up your board and then let the water flow naturally to create all of those watercolor edges. I did dab up a little bit of excess water with a paper towel, but you don't want to do that too much because once it dries, that's what gives it its unique watercolor effect. You will get a better result if you let this completely air dry on the board, leaving it attached to the board. But because of video purposes, I am going to help speed up that drying process with a heat tool. Once it dries, you can come back and add another layer of color if you prefer, but I like it like this because I really want to add the color and intensity with the ink blending and the coordinating stencil. Now, I know that this is looking like a complete disaster, but we're going to set it off on the side, let it finish drying, and then we will come back with our ink blending. So while that's drying, I decided to just go ahead and start trying to pick out a sentiment. So there were two sentiments that caught my eye that I thought would go nicely with this. One is from this Positively Crafty set, and the other one is from the Courtyard Silhouettes. And since I couldn't decide, I just thought I would go ahead and do both of them. But I'm going to do some heat embossing. I thought some gold heat embossing would tie in nicely with that whimsical watercolor design. So I prepped a piece of heavyweight cardstock using an anti-static powder tool, and I'm going to ink up both of these stamp sets using the embossing ink. You can see I did stamp it multiple times. It's clear ink, so it's really hard to tell if you're getting a clear impression. And then I'm going to sprinkle on some gold embossing powder. Tap off any excess and then make sure you have your tool nice and hot before you come at your paper with it. So I like to give a quick sweep on the background and then come to the front and completely melt the embossing powder. And one thing I like to do sometimes with embossing is double heat emboss. This is kind of a 50-50 for me. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. One thing is you want to make sure that this is nice and cooled off. Prep it again with the anti static powder tool. I'm going to ink it up just like before, stamp over the top. And typically, I don't know if this works until I actually sprinkle on the gold embossing powder. So, you do want to make sure you're getting that cardstock right in that exact same place as you did before. If you have minimal warping, this tends to work a little bit better. Now, once I sprinkled on the powder, I didn't see where anything looked, I guess I would say bolded like I would in a Word document. So, since I felt pretty confident, then I came in, melted the embossing powder, and that just gives it a little bit more of a raised look. So I die cut those out with the coordinating die, and then I'm going to come back to my background and start doing my ink blending since my panel is nice and dry. Now, this can be a little tricky because, for one, our cardstock is watercolor paper, so it is textured. And two, we had done a 3D embossing folder. So there's a lot going on here. I'm bringing out my double grip background stamp from Gina K Designs. It's a sticky mat that's going to kind of hold the paper down. It doesn't hold it completely because, again, like I said, it's textured. But when we place the stencil over the top, the stencil will stay in place. So I lined up the first layer of the stencil. This is going to do some of the petals. It lines up pretty good, even though it's watercolored background and it's kind of scattered at the moment. You can still line this up pretty good by looking at the ridges that the embossing folder created. I did come in and hold it down with some tape, but honestly, that didn't really work out. So I'm starting with a standard blending brush and I'm adding some color lightly over the petals using a medium carnation ink. I went through my ink swatch book and I was just trying to find colors that matched my watercolor background. I'm going to deepen up starting in the centers using a dark carnation and a detail blending brush. I'm going out maybe a quarter of their way. I just wanted to add intensity to the centers. And I didn't feel like dark carnation really did it. So I'm bringing in medium cranberry. So again, this is kind of an experiment. I really don't know what the intensity or how good the intensity is going to be until I remove the stencil. So this was experimenting, and I highly encourage you to experiment with your ink blending and your colors. So I removed that first layer of the stencil, came in with the second layer. Now notice my stencil does stick out off on the side, so it's able to stick to that grip mat pretty well. This is going to add in the other petals, again, giving it a light wash of color with a standard blending brush and that medium carnation ink. Now this time I jumped right into medium cranberry, starting in the center and blending out. I really go in the center and then around the edges to get that definition. This is what's really going to make those petals pop out. And then again, I'm going to step it up, but this time bringing in the dark cranberry. So starting in the center, just kind of lightly blending it out because cranberry can pack a punch if you come in a little too heavy handed. Now, think back to when you first watercolored this panel and what a disaster it looked like. And watch when I remove my stencil, you can see how the petals are starting to come together and it just starts transforming. So, even if you're not happy with your watercolor results, keep going. So, the next layer of the stencil has the centers, which I'm using Marigold for. I skipped the little added detail on the petals, I didn't feel I needed them. And then I'm going to start in with the leaves. So for this, I thought the spruce collection from Gina K Designs matched well to the color that I used from the watercolor palette. Again, just coming in with a light wash of color. I really don't want this to be super heavy handed because I want that kind of watercolor look of the leaves to still be there. But I'm going to step it up on that contrast by the ink colors, mainly sticking close to the centers or where the flowers are overlapping the leaves. So I did come in with a little bit of a medium spruce and then also the dark spruce just to really add the definition to the edges. Now we'll bring in the last layer of the stencil, and that is going to finish off the leaves. And what I did for it is I still started out with the same colors that I used here, but I did intensify the dark spruce a little bit more because I wanted it to show a difference. Maybe some leaves are tucked a little bit further behind, which means they'd be more shaded or darker. So I did step it up a little bit by just applying a little bit more pressure. But again, rein yourself in a little bit. Don't go too far out to the tips because we don't want to lose that watercolor wash look. And then as I remove this last layer of stencil, you can see how everything came together. And this is one of the cards that I think people would receive and go, how did she do that? Because that background just pulls it all together so wonderfully. Now, I did do a practice panel earlier to see if this technique worked. So this one, I went a little more light handed. You can see the difference between the two. This is the one we did today on camera. The edge of the petals still have that kind of watercolor wash look to them, and also even the tints of green, which is totally fine. And then this was my practice one where I just did quick light washes of color. Both are beautiful and both have their own unique look to them. So when I did my sentiment, I did die cut out multiples of from the coordinating die to stack together so my sentiment was layered up. So I quickly did that and decided I wanted to add splatters to my background, but I really wanted the splatters to be on the watercolor edges, so not necessarily on the flowers. I used my practice panel as a practice panel again, using some metallic watercolor, trying to keep it focused around the outer edges. And I know splatter is kind of a love hate for some of you. Some of you love it, some of you are scared of it, and some of you don't want anything to do with it, which is all totally fine. Now, on my real panel that I planned on using for today's card project, I'm using the stencil to just kind of lightly mask the flowers so that I could really focus the splatters around that outer edge and give it that very, I don't know, I want to say almost fairy tale look, but I wanted sparkles in the background there. So it's very, very subtle. Now, this happened to work out where my edges were fairly even where I taped them off. That was completely unplanned. And I have a feeling that if I would have trimmed this panel down or hid this in any way, I probably would have lost some subscribers. So I decided to just leave the panel completely as is. I'm going to make a 5x7 card. So I created a 5x7 card base. I added foam tape behind the entire panel. That's going to really help adhere that embossed panel to the card front. And then I'll add the sentiment So Grateful, which is from that Courtyard Silhouettes set. I did pop it up with some foam tape as well. So even though I did die cut it to stack it, I still like to have a little bit of foam tape behind it because I like that look. I hope this technique has given you some inspiration for your next card and that you're going to want to give this a try. And keep in mind, you can use any type of 3D embossing folder with coordinating stencil that you already may have in your stash. But if you are interested in the supplies I used today, they will be linked down below in the video description. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Here is another video that I think you'll enjoy.